Well, good afternoon and welcome everyone to the Fundmatch tutorial on international trade shows. We appreciate all of you for attending today's webinar. It will focus on international trade shows, eligible expenses, claim submission, and application. Please hold your questions until the end of the presentation for the question and answer period. And today's webinar will be recorded and uploaded to our website for your future reference. The presentation will probably be 20 to 25 minutes long. And with that, let's take a moment and get started. Our agenda today is getting to know WSATA, what is Fundmatch, the Fundmatch process, international trade shows, claim submission, and wrap up and tips for success. WSATA is the acronym for the Western United States Trade Association, and we are a nonprofit trade association with over 40 years of exporting focus. We have a global network of resources we work with, and we partner and advocate with the USDA, FAS, and the Market Access Program. What is Fundmatch? Fundmatch is a funding program of WSATA, which assists eligible agribusinesses and agricultural suppliers to compete internationally by providing 50% reimbursement for eligible marketing expenses and activities to promote the brands and products of the USA. And do you qualify for Fundmatch? You must be headquartered in the Western US region. You must be a small to medium agribusiness. Products are at least 50% US grown and operating business for 1 year or more. Let's get right into it. Let's begin with and go through the process of the Fundmatch program to discuss each step. Applications are completed online, and to begin the online application, sign on to your WSATA account dashboard, select the Fundmatch Applications tile, and begin the process. First step would be a Fundmatch consultation with your engagement executive. Your engagement executive will reach out to you to answer any of your questions or to schedule a consultation. If you do not know who your engagement executive is, email fundmatch@wasata.org to be connected. The fee for the application is a non-refundable $350 fee. And once you have submitted the application, it will route to the Fundmatch manager, Gretchen Gilbert, and she will review the application for approval. Please be sure to work through any back and forth questions that come and are needed in the process. Once that gets approved, you'll receive a contract to sign electronically and the invoice for your 6% fee on the funding. The admin fee is based upon the amount of your requested funding. For example, the minimum amount is $2,500, which is 50% of a $5,000 budget. At 6%, that fee would be $150. After signing and paying the invoice, you are eligible to conduct your activities. And once the activities are completed, you can compile your documentation on your laptop or desktop to submit for reimbursement. There are a couple of reminders to discuss. You must be contracted prior to your event or campaign. And this also applies to changes where you may add a country market or a new product. These changes must be approved prior to the event. You may reference the process in the guide on pages 10 through 16. And to remind everyone, currently we are in a pending status awaiting our FAS funding. The contracts and invoices for 2025 have not been distributed yet, but should be released soon. The origin statement, one of the first and most important requirements of the Fundmatch program and the activities associated with international trade shows, the origin statement must be, you must have a brand promotion and display a valid origin statement in your activity or in your booth. And it must be present in your booth and in all the photos. If brand promotion and the origin statement is missing from your photos, the claim will not be eligible, no part of it. So it's very important to observe this regulation in our program. Acceptable origin statements are in green. They are product of the USA or product of America, grown in the USA or grown in America. Oops, wrong button. Product of California or grown in Oregon or grown in Montana. You'll notice that for the state origin statements, you must spell out the entire state name. Now, international trade shows are the primary activity to promote international exports for your companies. Many international trade shows have a USA pavilion, and the companies are required to exhibit in that pavilion. If the trade show has no USA pavilion, your company is free to exhibit anywhere on the show floor, as long as 30% or more of the exhibitors sell food or agricultural products. Refer to page 39 and it will give you kind of a listing of those trade shows that have pavilions. And I have another slide after this that'll show that too. If you exhibit outside of the USA pavilion, you must have pre-approval from the USDA to exhibit anywhere outside the pavilion. Requests must be submitted in writing to fundmatch@wasada.org at least 60 days prior to the start of the show. And here is that list from page 39 in the guide. Companies must exhibit within these USA pavilions at the eligible trade shows. And as you can see, some of them are coming up. We have FoodX coming up. We just got done with Gulf Food. There's several of them. This is not a complete list of trade shows. USA pavilions are continuously added throughout the year. So to verify whether a USA pavilion exists for any show, please visit this link below, www.fas.usda.gov, topics and trade shows. This is another important area to discuss is proration of your claims. All activities must include approved products from your current Fundmatch application. So if you market other brands or products that are not approved, the activity will be prorated to just the approved products. This applies to trade shows, it applies to missions, displays, demos, all activities for Fundmatch. For an example, if a company exhibits at a trade show and markets 4 approved products in the booth, and you also market 2 new products that aren't on your approved product list, the entire claim would be prorated at 67% and then paid at 50% reimbursement. If your total, this for an example, if your total claim is $5,000 at 67%, that's $3,350. And at 50% would be $1,675 instead of the $2,500 that you would have gotten if all the products were approved. So keep this in mind. And if you ever have any questions, contact your engagement executive for guidance in this area. Now, to add new products for approval prior to your event or activity, just sign into your current application, select product, add the new product, upload the label and origin statement. and complete the submission. It'll take a few days for the Fundmatch manager to review and approve it. And expect an email of confirmation or check your dashboard for updates. Eligible expenses. If you check out pages 35 through 39, they're also going to detail this list. The most important expense that's covered would be your booth space and booth insurance, rental of a temporary booth display. If you have an exhibitor guide directory or advertisement, it must include the valid origin statement, but it can also be put out there as well. Uniforms that promote the brand and valid US origin statement. That includes like your aprons and t-shirts, caps that your staff wears in the booth. Temporary labor wages include demonstrators, chefs, interpreters, translators, hosts and hostesses, booth design, and booth construction and setup. It also includes demonstration supplies like disposable cups and spoons, and food purchased to enhance your product. Equipment rentals, the rental of hot plates, toasters, or refrigeration, if you need that as well. It also includes product showcases and the cost for those. Freight is to and from the show, shipping of your samples and your materials and equipment needed for the show. And in addition, international travel is covered, and those requirements are on page 42 and 4 through 45 of the guide. It includes airfare for 2 company representatives. Make sure to always refer to that travel section for information and guidance, or contact your engagement executive. Representatives may include employees, members or of cooperatives, or any broker, consultant, or marketing rep contracted by the company for a specific event. Meals and incidentals for 2 company representatives will be paid at a per diem rate, and lodging for 2 company representatives will also be available for up to the per diem rate. Your POS or printed sales materials, the production of banners, posters, signage, recipe cards, table tents, company brochures. Remember that everything must promote your brand name and have a valid origin statement. To be eligible for reimbursement, sales materials that target a foreign audience are also eligible as well. Temporary labor for printed sales materials and design are also covered. Giveaways, eligible amount up to a $4 maximum per unit at 50%. And since giveaways are small in nature, the US origin statement is not required on those giveaways. However, your brand must be present on those. Now, these are the ineligible items or expenses. Booth and materials that do not promote your brand or valid origin statement. And we can't say this enough. If those items aren't there in the booth, your origin statement and your brand prominently promoted with photos and backed up with the photos, they're not going to be eligible. The entire claim will be denied. Purchase of a permanent custom booth. We don't pay for purchase of booths, only rental. Purchase of furnishings or containers or supplies, that is ineligible. Costumes, sponsorships, delegation fees, membership fees, fees for participating in US government sponsored activities, cost of product samples, If your country isn't listed in your marketing plan that you're attending, it won't be eligible. Now, some of the ineligible travel includes travel expenses for interpreters or your temporary labor, ground transportation, travel for applicants for employment interviews, unused non-refundable airline tickets or associated penalty fees are ineligible, and travel for any other reason except to a mission or a trade show. So for example, if you have a demo campaign in Japan, that would not be eligible for travel. Only trade shows and outbound missions. Freight ineligibility would be shipping of product orders and cost of a rental vehicle to transfer product. Ineligible printed sales materials would be anything that does not have the origin statement or brand on it. In addition, business cards, seasonal greeting cards, and materials for unapproved products will be prorated as well. We were discussing that earlier. Giveaways, items that do not promote the brand, items that are tied to purchase of the product. So any coupons or 2-for-1, that type of thing would not be eligible. Ineligible labor costs would be actual employee wages are not eligible. The foreign distributor employee wages or travel expenses, they are not eligible. Independent contractor travel costs and meals. Demonstrator wages for an employee of your company or foreign distributor company. Wages over 8 hours. Overtime is not eligible. Parking is not eligible. Or training fees. Media press release items and associated labor, as well as baggage fees, extra badges, and delegate fees. So let's talk about the documentation that's needed. This is a listing of the claim documentation to submit your claim online. Refer to pages 35 to 39 in the guide. That'll give you also a comprehensive list as well. We'll need to have invoices for each one of your expenses and a complete invoice that includes the name, the address, the contact info of the vendor, and all itemized charges, the name of the payer, and the company contact information. You'll also need to include proof of payment for each one of your expenses. That would include a bank or credit card statement. In a PDF format, you need the first page of the statement and a page of the transaction. If you paid it by check, you would also need to submit your check image with the corresponding bank statement. And if you pay by wire, include the wire transfer request plus the corresponding bank statement. It's good to provide a copy of the company listing in the show's exhibitor guide and the cover if you have it. If not, just take a screenshot of the online listing. You'll need to provide all of your travel documentation. That would include your ATO travel notification, your tickets, your boarding passes, your hotel folio. You don't have to provide anything for the meals and incidental per diem. Now, one of the most important are providing photos, and the following is just kind of what type of photos we need. We need large scale, all-encompassing photos of the entire booth after it's been set up and it shows your brand and the valid origin statement. It must be easily observed, and the photos of, if there's photos just sent of empty shelves and the setup, that will not be accepted. Supplementary photos of smaller sections of the booth. If you have a larger booth, it will be helpful to ensure everything is clearly visible for the claim to be reviewed. If there's ever an opportunity where they need to have additional photos, they'll always reach out to you. A list of all photo products displayed and promoted in the booth, and they'll use this product list to compare to your approved products on file. If you have a product featured in a product showcase, be sure to get a photo of that as well. That includes the origin statement. And finally, it's important to get photos of the employees, the representatives, yourself, the travelers, and the temporary labor that are manning your booth during the trade show. And kind of as a final reminder, this is a diagram of the placement of the origin statement. And to avoid ineligible claims, just be sure to have your brand name and U.S. origin statement clear on your photos. Now, some tips for success in your claims submission and your event. Prior to your activity, we recommend to sign on to your WSATA account and verify that the country market you're going to is there and it's listed, and the products that you're going to exhibit are also listed and approved. And make sure you've filed your travel notification. If that travel notification is not obtained, then the travel will not be eligible. There's an ATO button and travel button tile on your dashboard, and it's clearly visible. Any updates or changes, be sure to submit them online and approved prior to your event. And when you're ready to submit your claim, save some time, upload your documents sometimes in advance onto your computer or laptop for easy claims processing. Our online program accepts several document types. Another thing is total your expenditures. You'll need that number to add onto the first claim details screen. And this is some shots of what that claim submission screen looks like. You'll go onto your dashboard, click the Fundmatch program, click the claims tile, and then this little orange button where it says start claim, you'll click that and it will begin to ask you all of the documentation and information you'll need on the claim. There's also an online claim webinar to access online as well in case you need it. Some more tips for success are to schedule a consult and meet your engagement executive. Very important. And if you ever have an issue with not being able to contact them or not remembering who they are, just email fundmatch@wasada.org and we'll get you connected. Always be sure to reference the Fundmatch guide. We talked about several different page numbers in this presentation. It's always a good idea to have a really good feel for the requirements of the activity before you go. So there's also lists and claim tutorials out online that are know before you go lists that tell you what you need to have done prior to your event as well. Now, just in case there's a company on this webinar that are not participants for WSATA, just head over to the website at www.wasada.org, fill out the details of your company, and the WSATA team will vet and approve you and get you started within the Global Connect or Fundmatch programs. And finally, thank you so much for attending the webinar today. Now is the time to move to our question and answer period. A reminder that when questions come up, contact your engagement executive, like we just talked about, and email fundmatch@wasada.org. I want to remind everyone that next month, the webinar is International Travel Reimbursement. So you'll probably want to attend that as well if you're doing a lot of international activity. You may also access our social media sites as they are listed below. Now, it'll just take me a few moments to adjust my screens and we can begin the question period. And just a moment. There we go. Everyone see me? Everything good? Okay, now we're ready for questions. You can put them in the chat or you can just blurt them out. That's fine too. And are there any questions on our webinar today?
I have a question. So for the booth, we were talking about setup and decor and things like that. For items that are used, going to be used again, right, when you leave the booth, but are bought for the specific event, they're not covered or they are covered?
I want to make sure I'm understanding your question. So you have like items that you use in your booth that you use like from show to show to show. Is that right?
Right, but they would be purchased for, like, example, global, right? If they're
Okay.
purchased for global and then we
And
use
give
them
me an
again.
example of something.
A display dog
Oh,
that holds
okay.
our product.
Okay. Like that type of thing would not be because it's considered a permanent item. But say, for instance, you wanted to distribute some brochures, that's going to be eligible under the POS allowance. So does that help at all? If there's anything that's permanent that you bring with you with regard to, you know, your booths, that your trade shows and that, those types of items are generally not covered. Now, that said, if you have anything that comes up that you think, you know, I think this might be covered, just call the call your engagement executive and they'll be able to answer you.
Okay, thank you.
You bet. Have a great day, Kenzie. Anybody else? You guys are so quiet today. Okay.
You explained so well.
Who?
You explained so well. Thank you, Diane.
Thank you, Elsa. Well, everyone have a great day today for the rest of your day. And always remember, we're here to help whenever you need it, to support you. We know how important these activities can be. We know it can be a little bit stressful when you're traveling and everything. So feel free to call us or contact us, email that engagement executive anytime.
I can ask one more question.
Okay, great. What's your question, Kenzie?
So if we're starting to target a foreign market, and we have to use, obviously, translation services for like the brochures and things.
Yes.
Are those the translation services covered or just the brochures themselves?
Will they be associated with your booth at the show? Will you have that translator there at the booth?
No, the translator would not be at the booth because we would just have like the flyer.
If the translator was at the booth, yes, that would be eligible. If it's to like maybe at different business meetings and that, those are not eligible.
Okay, but if we had a physical translator in the booth, then their wages are covered?
Yep.
Okay, what about the like paying for the translation services ahead of time for the brochures?
Ah, good question. Okay, so you would just, you know, obtain the invoice and the contract that you have. Many times they'll do a contract type thing and, you know, you'll pay for it. You'll provide your proof of payment and then a photo of that translator in the booth.
Okay, so it has to be from the same company, the translator and the translator in the booth.
They can be independent. If they're independent, they'll provide you with an invoice. Like say you pay them cash, because you can pay them cash as well. They'll provide an invoice. It'll have a signed cash receipt on it, and you just have to sign off on it.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you. Yes, Hayden, what's your question?
Not so much a question. I'm just sitting back idly and listening to you do a great job of explaining international trade shows. I wanted to come on and give a little bit of a plug for some pavilion spaces that we do have coming up here later in the year,
deal.
especially in May. So we have HOFEX that is hosted in Hong Kong. It looks like we've got 2 spots available there. Barcelona Seafood, we have 4 spots. Where else am I? I know Tyfex, I believe in Thailand is 1 or 2 spots available. And we also have, I want to say 4 spots left for Seattle, China. So you can
Oh.
always navigate those events on our events page, and you can navigate those to your MyUSADA account. But there are booth spaces available for those shows if anyone is interested.
Excellent. That's great job, Hayden. Thank you so much. Okay, everyone. So have a great day today. Enjoy, and we'll sign off for now and hopefully see you next month for international travel. Take care. Everyone have great shows.